coming from the sorrow in the street, the holy places where the races meet, from the homicidal bitchin' that goes down in every kitchen to determine who will serve and who will eat. It's coming to America first, the cradle of the best and of the worst. It's here they got the range and the machinery of change, and it's here they got the spiritual thirst. I'm sentimental, if you know what I mean. I love the country, but I can't stand the scene. And I'm neither left or right. I'm just staying home tonight, getting lost in that hopeless little scream. From the wars against disorder, from the sirens night and day, democracy is coming to the USA.
Hey guys, Pete here. There's good news. Mr. Robot has dropped a new trailer for Season 3, and we have an official release date of October 11th, 2017. The way they released this trailer was amazing, and I'll talk about that later. But real quickly, if you're watching this as a fan of my channel, but don't necessarily watch Mr. Robot like you watch my channel for other shows, I highly recommend this show. It's packed full of mystery, there are great characters, mind-bending twists, and every episode is packed with Easter eggs like every scene, and ARG clues which make the weeks in between episodes like a non-stop immersive experience. It's really one of the best and most underrated shows out there. They released a companion book in the off-season which added even more depth to the last one, and I think just flat out it is the most underrated show and experience going on TV. So I'll put some links in the description to where you can find some of that stuff, but definitely check it out if you've never seen it. So the trailer's out, and I'm going to break it down frame by frame. Luckily, everything is pretty clear as far as who we see, so there's not a lot of mystery in that, and yeah, let's jump into it. So the first scene is Darlene walking through a street full of people camping, sort of like a tent city almost, but it's interesting to note that it's right out in the neighborhood. You know, this isn't under a bridge or in an abandoned parking lot or something. We can see the effects of what's been going down since the 5/9 hack is hitting. It looks like people are sort of living out there in the street. After that, we see Elliot. He is passing through a subway station. We see that people are wearing surgical masks here, and I'm wondering if this is in relation to all the trash we saw piling up last season. And it's kind of interesting to think about the fact here that the subway still seems to be running, so some parts of the infrastructure are still functioning, at least here, and we will see someone on the train later. On the subreddit, someone pointed out that this could be catching a train to Coney Island, but as a non-New Yorker, I have no idea how you would even be able to tell something like that. I mean, I've ridden the subway in New York, but I have no expertise. In the next scene, we see a shot that looks to be like underneath a big building. We see sort of pipes and ductwork that look to be, something you would see on a subterranean floor. It looks like Elliot, he's struggling to pull himself up, but that's about all we see here. After that, we get another shot of Elliot. This one we're sure it's him. We see his face. He's standing in a room with a bookshelf that has all red books behind him. He's sort of touching his face, and he looks in anguish. I'm sure someone will zoom in and check out what all those books actually are, but from this distance, I can't tell that the books themselves are any more important than what we see. In the next one, we see Mr. Robot. He's in a room. It's sort of dark. There is some lights there, but it's not lit overhead. This could be related to where we see him in a little bit, but he has a look of disbelief or something, like he can't believe what he just heard or what he just saw. Then we get one that stands out right away, and that's Phillip Price and Tyrell Wellick looking at something together, and they're in Tyrell's home. The reason I say it stands out right away is because this could be out of sequence with the normal timeline, but there's honestly no way to tell, because when Tyrell finally came back, he dressed exactly the same as he did before he disappeared, and even though that would be a strange meeting for Price to be with him, especially in his home, we really don't know. Then we see Angela, based on the hair, wearing a black hoodie and an F Society mask that is obviously smeared with a substance. It seems most likely that this would be blood. We can't really tell where she's at. It's a secure building and, she's leaving a room. This could be related to the other scene we see of her, but not much way to tell. We get the one and only shot of Dom DePiero next. She has a gun drawn with a flashlight. She is scanning the room or clearing the room, something along those lines. And you can't really tell. At first I thought it was maybe a bathroom, or it could be a storage or utility closet or something along that lines. Then we see a guy with a gun wearing an F Society mask and a suit. First thought it was Tyrell, but if you look at the hair, it's definitely somebody else. Not someone that we know, or not someone that I found recognizable right away. So this could be a new character, or it could just be a random character that's acting out in the aftermath of the hack. We see a yellow taxi being followed by a black car. We've seen Joanna and her driver, protector, being driven around Mr. Sutherland in a black car, but I can't say that that's the case. It's an SUV, and that's what she has, but you can't really tell. We see B.D. Wong, who plays White Rose, but he's in his Minister Zhang persona, his male persona. He's in what looks like probably a limousine, or it could be some other kind of car, but we could tell that he has a "I'm deep in thought" look on his face, and the curtains are all sort of drawn around him so no one can see inside. We get another shot of Tyrell, not looking very Tyrell, except for the way he's dressed. Now, when I first saw this, I thought this was outside based on some of the things that were going on, like the fire and the bucket, and the chair looked like a, outdoor lawn furniture kind of thing. But on Reddit, they said he was in a room sitting on a bed. So chime in below and tell me what you guys think about this. But the big part of the scene is that he is taking a bottle of vodka to the head in a pretty serious manner. Like he's chugging it down. We then see a shot of Darlene crying. She appears to be in a room, not much detail. I mean, there's a TV there. It looks pretty sparse as far as everything else goes. We get our first look at Bobby Carnavale, and he is definitely with people wearing Dark Army masks who are holding guns. And this looks like it is in the arcade, which is also very strange, like that they would be there since the FBI has already, searched that location. We'll talk more about Bobby Carnavale later. Let's see, we have this scene that's pretty hard to make out. It looks definitely like Darlene and Elliot. He's walking behind her. They're walking on like a glass floor. It looks somewhat like a party up in the top part, and then when you look through, you see it looks like there's a bunch of people on computers, almost like an office space or something. I mean, the initial thought I had here is this is some kind of new F Society place where people gather, but you can't tell really. After that, we see that people are protesting at the E-Corp building. There's a security guard. He's kind of getting rushed as he comes up to one of these guys. Looks like shit is going down in their lobby. The next one appears to be Darlene, looking worried, looking through a peephole in a door. Then we see Angela walking. She's in an office building. It looks like it's the E-Corp place because there's a security guard with an E-Corp jacket, and we see that there's sort of graffiti scrawled on the walls and things like that. Then we see Mr. Robot at a terminal, and I brought up the lighting in the last one because we see the same kind of lighting here. Tyrell's at his side, and initially I thought this may be in the past, but it looks like Bobby Carnavale and Angela are behind him. And so if Angela's there with someone who we see as associated with the Dark Army, then I have to imagine that this is not in the past because she didn't switch sides until the end of the season. We then see someone's come into Elliot's apartment. They look Chinese. They look like they are thugs, for lack of a better term, criminal guys. They have guns drawn. They're looking for something or looking for him. We see a checkpoint. It says security checkpoint, and we see a black SUV there being pulled over. They have a dog, a sniffer dog. And then the final scene, we see the E-Corp sign, and then as it pans up, we see that Elliot is at the E-Corp headquarters. So a ton of stuff, and it's all pretty exciting, really. I saw this first thing this morning when I woke up. I fell asleep last night when they were teasing it. So I went through, grabbed all the screenshots, made notes, and then I went over to the Mr. Robot subreddit, which is one of the best subreddits for a TV show that there is. And I compared my notes. First, let's look at what we didn't see, though, because that's a little bit easier. We saw a lot of Tyrell, which we heard we're going to get a lot more of Tyrell in this season, but we saw no Joanna. We didn't get any sightings of Trenton and Mobley or Leon out west. There were no scenes with Phillip Price and any other character besides Tyrell. Like, we didn't see him being Phillip Price very much. And like I said, the Tyrell scene definitely stands out. We didn't see any scenes with White Rose as herself. We also learned in the off-season that Dom has a new partner who's played by actor Rizwan Manji, and we did not see him yet. So yeah, what we did see was a lot of Tyrell with Price, Tyrell with Mr. Robot, and Tyrell alone in a room or outside drinking vodka straight to the face. We saw Elliot and Darlene together, which is kind of big, I guess. I mean, these weren't things that we didn't think would happen, but Darlene is no longer in FBI custody or wherever she was, and Elliot is walking around and seems to be healed from his gunshot that he took. With Darlene out and about, it makes you wonder where she's at. We know that from what Sam Esmail has said that Angela is definitely on the side of the Dark Army. Something about what was going on in White Rose's plan has convinced her that that's where she wants to be. So we didn't see any scenes with her and Price. Seeing White Rose dressed as Minister Zhang could be important, but we don't really know. The city is definitely falling further into despair. We saw the protesters. We saw all of that. People camping, living on the street, maybe trash piling up, continuing. And then we had the subway rider pulling the gun, which may be an indication that things are getting more and more desperate post 5/9. And we also learned that even though they said Bobby Carnavale would be playing a used car salesman, he also happens to be in bed with the Dark Army. So yeah, it was just really exciting. They dropped some clues for people to solve. Then they released the text to the song by Leonard Cohen, Democracy, which is the voiceover in the video trailer. And then eventually they dropped the full trailer. I mean, it's not a full trailer, it's a teaser for sure, but a lot to think about. It's really getting exciting. We have an actual date now, so even though it's a little bit off, there should be more stuff to look at in the meantime. This video already got long, so I'm going to cut it off here. I am going to do some more Mr. Robot videos on the lead up to Season 3. I read the Red Wheelbarrow book a few months ago, so I'm going to go back through that, make a video about that. I'll put a link to that in the description if you haven't seen it yet. It's pretty awesome. It's definitely interesting, and real fans are going to want to have that, I would imagine. We'll also look at any and all images that come out and different trailers that they release over time. Sam Esmail has done a lot of interviews and given up some pretty interesting stuff to go over. So yeah, please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, and then make sure you hit that bell for notifications. I do a pretty full schedule of releases now, so you're going to want to have notifications to make sure you don't miss anything. Follow me on Twitter and my other social media accounts, and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.